Hi, I'm Alli.
And I am Andrei.
And this is
The Love is Blind podcast. We're back on it.
We are back. I just thought the same thing. We are here to discuss Season 1, Episode 9 of Love is Blind Sweden.
Sweden, called
The Weddings.
And the description is,
wedding bells ring as the couples face life-changing decisions. Will they set aside their doubts and differences or leave their partners at the altar? It's going to be tough to write the weddings description because it's like, folks get married or don't. Like every season, you know?
I mean, that's a great question. Do you think the description is always identical?
I don't know. I bet it's not. And I bet it's like difficult to come up with a new way to describe it.
I hope somebody's getting paid to write these and that it's not just going through like ChatGPT.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I wonder what ChatGPT. We should do that later. We should have a fun bonus episode. Should we do like a ChatGPT take on each of the participants and?
Oh my gosh! Yes, we will just have a scripted podcast.
This is why we need like a
ChatGPT.
Patreon, right? Like this is the kind of bonus stuff that you get. But
I also wanted to just quickly note before we kind of jump into things, if you hear just the sound of children in the far background, there seem to be children outside enjoying a nice sunny day. And as we don't own like a studio, the amount of soundproofing we are able to do is minimal. But I'm hoping that our voices will far out volume anything going on in the background. I think out volume is a good word for what I'm trying to describe.
It's a perfectly cromulent word.
Yeah.
That was a deep Simpsons reference. If you like this podcast, please like us, follow us, subscribe.
Give us 5 stars. Just wanted to give a big shout out to Paula Scott.
Our old friend.
Of Paula Scott for your message. It was incredibly sweet, and we appreciate you so much for everything you've done for us and for kind of being our fan this whole time. It's really awesome.
It's pretty great.
It's genuinely really cool to have somebody who's like following us along. I showed that message to Alli, and she was like, "Oh, that's so nice."
It's true.
And that is generally our reaction when we're reading your reviews. So just so you know, we get real excited when we get those.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, we begin.
The weddings.
I do wonder whether this is going to be a particularly... I don't know how long this particular podcast episode is going to be, because there is a lot of just, B-roll of them getting ready and putting on their clothes, and there's a little bit of interaction, but not a lot of this is new other than the actual decisions and their impacts,
Maybe we should just discuss couple by couple whether they got married and what we think, rather than a scene by scene then.
I mean, we can do a little bit. Like there's some things that are maybe kind of worth touching on. So, for example, we start off with Rasmus and Chrysalie, and right away we get the vibe that Chrysalie's bachelorette party didn't go so well, obviously, because we kind of left off with her kind of having a panic attack, and she now very openly comes out and says she had a panic attack, and says that to Rasmus's mom, which is also kind of a powerful thing that she's opening up to Rasmus's mom in this way. And Rasmus's mom, well, first of all, she's there and is very supportive. So that's really nice to see.
I thought it was really cool that Rasmus's mom came to check on her that day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, but it's, overall, she doesn't necessarily fully address why she was, like, we don't talk about the quiz, really, other than a very odd allusion to it and very strongly soundtracked version of an illusion when they first walk up to each other at the altar, and she asks the question like, "Do you remember my name?" But yeah, other than that, Rasmus seems to be feeling strong,
that's a weird place for her to say that comment. The "Do you know my name?" Yeah, it's like, girl, take it out. Take it out in private, I
mean, at this point, they haven't seen each other, right? So I
know.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
I still don't think the altar is where to have that conversation.
Yeah, that's fair. But, you know, Rasmus is kind of confident in the fact that she's going to say yes because she's made her decision, and he's just hoping that she's also kind of thought about it since then. Mm-hmm. We have the lovely surprise of Christopher being at the reception, at the altar, at the ceremony.
The wedding.
At the wedding.
He's at the altar.
He's at the altar.
He's just behind Rasmus.
Yeah. I mean, the scene that I alluded...
Easter egg.
The scene that I alluded to in the last week, in the last episode preview as it ended, where he sits down next to somebody and he says, "Have you had any sparkling wine today?" And the person next to him goes, "No." I really thought there was going to be more context. There is zero context still. And he just seems to ask a question. The person says no, and then he does not address that at all. It is such
They were like, we have to put a scene in of Christopher, and that was the best one they got.
Well, it just makes me wonder, was he trying to start conversation with that person? Maybe? I don't know. But it doesn't seem to have worked.
Chrysali's papa is there.
And Chrysali's papa.
Her not biological father, she says.
Yeah, because it's the stepdad who married her mom prior to her mom passing away. And it's really cool that he's there, and it seems like an emotional thing for him to be present, because it is, it is the closest thing that I at this point that I think that she has to family. Yeah, the actual ceremony is really sweet. They say really sweet words to each other. I love
her dress.
Her dress is great. They both look great. And it's really adorable that they're both crying at each other's speeches. I thought it was really cute when Rasmus kind of burst into tears through what she was saying, because it was incredibly touching. And also, Ruben, his friend, seems to also be kind of touched by this.
Apart from that one scene where he was just really interrogating her, every other scene he's been smiles and pro the relationship.
And once again, we've fallen prey to the editing.
I know. It gets us every time.
It's genuinely 100% possible that at the end of that very lunch, he goes, "Look, I'm being hard on you. I'm sorry. Rasmus is a very close friend of mine, and I'm very protective of him, but I trust him. I believe in you. You seem like a lovely person, and I'm here to support you." And we just didn't see that scene.
No.
But those are the things that you get from a show that is heavily edited.
Yes.
And not showing you everything.
Yes. But the two of them, they say...
Yes! That was pretty good. Yeah. Okay, that's going to be... Okay, so from now on, we're going to have to do that the same for everybody else.
Every time? Okay.
Yeah. So I say it for the guy, you say it for the...
Okay.
Okay. Perfect. Yeah, and it is... really cute. Of course, my God, I don't understand why they choose to have these. Why anybody ever chooses to do the thing where instead of saying yes, they go "Well, for my part, I believe from now on, whatever happens, it's going." I'm like, come on. The person that you love is right in front of you. Come on.
Yeah, I wouldn't think it was playful. I would be upset.
Yeah. We have I absolutely love Dino wearing a pink tie, just wandering around, being the chillest dog. And as for Chrysali's dog, nowhere to be seen.
Notably not present.
Because he would be chewing up everything.
Going down the aisle and, biting people.
Yeah. And
they both seem very happy. We suspected that they would both be a yes. They are the power couple, as Rasmus has said.
Yeah.
Of the season. So if they had said no, it was like, what are we watching the show for? Come on. I'm gonna have to get a new hobby if they say no.
A new podcast.
And I refuse to change. So we move from there over to Lucas and Amelia.
Oh my God. I
know.
Okay. I mean,
I know.
First of all, we get all of this Lucas describing how Amelia's like the perfect partner.
I know.
How it's exactly who he's looking for. How he didn't think he would find somebody like her. And then his friend comes in and he's like, I'm going to make my decision at the altar.
It's just been like this whole time with him, this ambivalence and cold feet and...
Yeah, and I mean, when he said that, I turned to Allie and I was like, that's literally what Amelia has asked him not to do.
I know, we were so upset.
That's the one thing she asked you not to do, that just make your decision early and don't make her entire, like, her family come from out of the country, do all of this stuff just for you to, like, make your decision and, like...
And he couldn't do it.
Like,
and
for a person,
he could at least say, like, I know I'm not all yes, or I might, there's a realistic chance I would say no, like something, you know? But I think he's such a people pleaser, and he's trying to avoid that conflict until the last possible second, you know?
Yeah.
It's absolutely a way that people are. And in this case, as it often is, it ends up being really hurtful.
Yeah.
Yeah. For her, you know, I wish she had said no. I really wish she had said no. Mm-hmm. Because all of her friends were really worried about her. She was really worried about her. And I don't know. To know that the person you're supposed to be marrying has so much doubt about you, why would you want that, you know?
Or, I mean, I wish that he had gotten to answer first.
It's not impossible for me to conceive of, like, why someone would want that anyway. So why would she want that is, like, a little rhetorical. But, like, I wish that she didn't, you know? I wish that she loved herself more. And she says here that like her saying yes is her saying yes to the possibility in the future. Yeah. But I think she's just really in love with him, and that's making her turn a blind eye to very many things, you know?
Yeah.
The lack of physical chemistry, and most importantly, well, that's pretty important, but also very importantly is his telling her not in so many words, but like here and there, that she's not everything for him.
Yeah.
She's not it for him. It would be really hard for me to say yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can see her friends are very much pushing for her to say no. You know, they're hoping that she says no. And even during the actual ceremony, you can, you know, the camera keeps cutting to them, and
to Nora.
They keep making this face of, I wish she would say no. Mm-hmm. And I understand exactly what you're saying, that it's she's making a choice, I think, that is being she's being a little, she's not paying attention to the signals that he's been kind of throwing, and choosing to be optimistic about something that he hasn't given her very much optimism about.
He will do that thing where he's like, when he's in one of his, it's almost like he's got to internally rev himself up to be into her, so that when he's in like into her mode, it comes out really forcefully.
Yeah.
You know? But I think that's less about him being actually that into her and more about like him convincing himself, you know?
Yeah.
Because he does do that. He does say, she's got everything I want. Like, I've never felt like this, whatever, right? But it's like he's ticking off his pros list internally. And there's still a cons list for him, which is, he's just not there. And I don't know if it's that he's not in love with her, he's not attracted to her, if he is not really wanting commitment like that. You know, there's something going on.
Yeah.
But it ends up really hurting her, and it's really sad.
Yeah, it is really sad. It is the saddest point in this podcast, or in this episode and in this podcast. By the way, apologies for sirens in the background. Again, can't soundproof this place any more than we currently have.
After the wedding, when he talks to her, she's very, I think, gracious to him. She's very kind to him after.
I am surprised. I mean, if I were in her position, I think I would be completely falling apart. And she kind of holds things together remarkably well. I don't know whether she was just kind of expecting this or not, but yeah, if I had been in her place, I think I would be just absolutely devastated. And not to say that she doesn't appear hurt. I think she's incredibly hurt. But she's kind of keeping it in large part.
As she's been doing this whole show, though, a lot of the pain that she's been feeling, she has kept inside and tried to look together and okay. And I think it's important for her to appear that way.
Yeah.
You know, it's probably one of her young defense mechanisms is to appear fine, you know.
Also, you know, she also looks great in her dress. Mm-hmm. And he looks great in that white suit. Just putting that out there. Everybody is looking great.
I wonder what we'll find out about them at the reunion. Do you think they dated?
I hope so. I hope they continued to date.
I hope they did not continue to date.
Interesting.
Because I think she should be with somebody who's more certain about her.
That's fair. Yeah, 100%.
It wouldn't surprise me if we found out. I bet she's going to come and be in a new relationship.
I think one of the things that I maybe am thinking about with regards to the show is that a lot of the folks who come on the show are people who have maybe had trouble finding somebody who understands them on an emotional level and on a personal level. And she seems to have found that in Lucas in a way that maybe she hasn't had in the past. But that is a thing that I feel like I've said before about other people. And I don't know how true that is. It's hard to, we don't know any of these folks' backgrounds and their dating history and how things have gone in the past. But she seems really taken with Lucas, and I hope it's not just something that is just like circumstantial. I guess part of me is thinking that there might be something real, and that when he says that he's genuinely in love with her, but that it's just, or not in love with her, because he doesn't say that, does he? But
no,
that he
says he would get married without saying it.
Yeah, you're right. Look, yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right that maybe it's not a great idea if they continue dating, but.
I think she would just continue to get hurt and have her self-esteem really take a toll. Yeah. I'm sure she's already had her self-esteem take a toll. Like, maybe I'm not pretty enough.
Yeah.
Maybe, right?
I mean, she's certainly described that in past relationships. The way she said it was like, I couldn't just walk around in my underwear and nothing happened.
Right.
With my partners. Yeah. And it is, it's really sad. I was mentioning to Alli that of all of the different series we've seen of Love is Blind and the situations in which a relationship has not worked out at the altar, I think this has been the one where I felt the worst. I felt so bad for Amelia. I really was, in the sense that I want her to be happy, and it's really a bummer that, this turned out the way it did for her. Mm-hmm. Not that Lucas is necessarily her one true love, but just in the sense that I wish she had found happiness and true love through this experiment.
Oh, I guess we have to, in case it's not obvious, at the altar they say, yes.
No. Yeah, you're right. We didn't do the thing.
We didn't do that. Yeah.
Well,
it's sad.
can we do it again? Can we do it again? At the altar, they say, "For me
Yes.
today, I'm going to say no."
No, you'd have to be silent for a really long time and look uncomfortable first.
I know, but that wouldn't really work with the 1, 2, 3. If you say yes and then after a long pause, never mind. I think it worked out as best as that could have possibly worked out.
Mm-hmm. Sergio and Amanda?
Sergio and Amanda. Oh boy, there's not been throughout this season much more of a moment when I've seen Sergio, like there's a boyish giddiness on his face throughout this episode that really reads like, oh my God, can you believe this? Can you believe this? And I can't. I can't believe it.
We all can't believe you're here, Sergio.
I can't believe you're here. I can't believe this is happening. God, what do we say? Let's say, first of all, the fact that Amanda's dad is like, I'm not nervous at all. You really? Okay.
It's so interesting to me that she's from such a religious background where I have to imagine that the idea of divorce is essentially not on the table, that she would be so, first of all, into this show at all, but also willing to say yes to somebody who, even right here, even when she's getting ready, she's saying she's not totally sure what he'll say. It's been rocky.
Mm-hmm.
I wish I could crack that nut in her mind of like what her thought process is, what marriage means to her. I guess the point I'm making is that considering what a final commitment I think she thinks this is, which, marriage should be for everybody, but like the religious part just makes it that much more pronounced. She doesn't seem to have a corresponding like vetting process or needing to feel secure enough to make that commitment. And that's odd to me.
Yeah. Yeah. It is very odd. The circumstances of this are all really odd. And yeah, look, I feel like they're both kind of approaching this entire situation from backgrounds of hurt. And I can only explain that in that way because otherwise I don't understand how they're choosing each other. Well, I can understand how Sergio is choosing her. I just don't understand how she's choosing him.
He seems to make her laugh and seems to make her lighten up, and she, I guess, really appreciates that. And he presented himself as pretty religious too, so there's that.
Yeah, definitely.
It might be a pretty big assumption that I'm making, that viewing the commitment that big should come with a different like pre-marriage consideration. As I reflect on it, I don't think that that's a true thing. Maybe it's a thing that you would think would be true, but I don't think it's universally true. Mm-hmm. So maybe it's a different kind of conception of marriage of like, it's hard sometimes, and it sucks sometimes, and you do it, you stick to it because it's marriage, and that's like kind of the end of the story. I don't know.
Yeah.
Sergio's friend and sister come by. It's interesting to me that they all speak English together.
Yeah. Well, he seems to have more of an international background, right? Like Barcelona and potentially other places. We get just typical Sergio doing push-ups and then putting wax into his hair. I was like, for once, can you get somebody to do your hair?
It's done.
It's done. It's just, I'm just gonna drag my fingers through my own hair. Look, that's how I do my hair. I'm not saying anything, but you just think that on your wedding day you'd want it to look a little bit nicer. And I'm saying this because I think his hair looks like a mess.
Well, I mean, don't we remember The Apartment? Like, he thinks things look good that don't look good.
I know, but the show Netflix, the producers, weren't they like,
hey,
everybody gets a stylist.
We're springing for this.
Everybody, no. I bought extra wax. And they're like, are you sure you want wax? And he's like, yes, I'd like wax. I'd just more wax. And they're like, our stylist said no. And he's like, well, I'll do it. I feel like I'm being too judgmental.
This is just our Sergio dislike.
I think I'm being too judgmental, but it is what's coming out right now.
Yeah.
Because I can't believe...
Even though he's had some good moments the past few episodes, where we've commented a lot that we'll have to take it into our Sergio calculus. So I'm softening a bit to him, but I also think, he showed his true colors early on, and... What's that famous saying? When someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time.
I do wonder how she's going to react when she sees the recording of the show.
Yeah, we'll see how they are at the reunion. Do you think they're still together?
I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna say they're separated.
If the reunion's only like a year from now, I'm guessing they're still together. I don't know if I see them lasting longer than that, though.
Well,
we'll find out.
We don't know. Well, what this is all leading up to is that at the altar, they say, yes. Oh, no.
We did it.
We did it.
We crushed it.
No, but it's an oh no for the fact
that they said yes.
They said yes.
Yeah. I think that as Andre and I were watching this, we were talking about, do you think they'll say yes or no? And we were like, gosh, this could be a yes. It could be a yes for both.
It's also a missed opportunity at this point. It's still a little bit too late. Instead of yes, we should be 1, 2, 3, yeah. Yeah, it's too late now.
No, we have one more couple we can yaw for.
One
more brolop.
Brelop.
It's brelop?
Brelop.
Okay.
Brelop. At one point, somebody adds that extra sort of syllable at the end, brelop. But that might be plural. I don't know.
Should we discuss that last brelop?
Brelop. Yeah.
Mera and Oscar.
Mera and Oscar's brelop.
Which...
Send us your tweets, Swedish.
Come at us, Sweden.
If only for the engagement.
Yeah, Oscar is saying he's, pretty into this, but he's not blind to, she might say no. There's been ambivalence the whole time, and I think that makes him sad. Yeah. But I think part of him has already made the choice. Mm-hmm. I think he's just kind of saying, look, I've already made my mind up that this is... he says something that I was surprised by, which is that he hasn't dated much or hasn't had very long relationships in the past or in the recent past. Mm-hmm. Which again, it's a lot of the times it's surprising for some of the folks that are on this show that they've had trouble in relationships, because I'm like, for the most part, you seem okay. Mm-hmm. Like you seem like a decent person, but dating in the modern world is not easy. Unless you happen to be doing some cool hobby like a improv comedy where you bump into somebody. Something like that.
Where you bump into somebody that you suddenly care a lot about. But yeah, Mira is, by the way, everybody's got curlers.
I know, all the women are coming in with like stuff in their hair like that. And the men are just chilling. Yeah, the men are chilling with zero other people taking care of them, just a friend coming in. Mira's mom comes in and has a chat with her. They're, I think, I think Mira still has a little bit of hesitation in her. And again,
editors are real good about choosing to show us the little bits of it that will continue to raise the suspense. It's very possible that throughout this entire preparation point, Mira is going, no, I'm going to say yes. And then they they show us the bit where she says, I don't know. I'm probably going to feel a little bit nervous.
Her family is like, Oscar, we can't believe he managed to get her to the altar.
Yeah.
And remember her sister's comment a few episodes ago. She seems to have trouble committing. Yeah. And so that puts a lot of her ambivalence about Oscar in context. It's like, that's just how she is. I mean, obviously, I'm sure there's reasons for that psychologically, but just taking it that level, that's just how she is. And the fact that she's still here is noteworthy, her family seems to think. Yeah. Also present at the wedding, Katya.
Yes, Katya's there. And Mira's brother is there and supportive, Hoshang. I'm now realizing it's not the brother that we've been told looks like Oscar. Yeah, I think because I believe that person's name was Frankie, something like that. But yeah, Hoshang walks Mira down the aisle. And ultimately, at the altar, they say, "Ya." Did you say "da"?
I started to say yes, and then I forgot we were doing "ya," so I tried to switch midway through. Let's try it again.
And at the altar, they say "ya."
After she kind of leaves him on the hook.
Yeah, she's like, "Whatever." Wait, is she the one who goes, "Whatever happens here tonight"?
Yes.
Which is a wild way to start something. Whatever happens.
Why would you do that?
Whatever happens, I want you to know I love you. Also, yes. But yeah, they're very sweet.
And what happens is I will be marrying you.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So do you think they're still together at the reunion?
I think so.
I think so too.
I think so. Yeah. I think they may have the occasional argument, but I think they're still together at the wedding. And she genuinely seems very happy. And we get a little bit of their reception with everybody dancing. We get a real cute scene between Chrysalie and Rasmus with the cake. A little bit of face smushing, the cake smushing, face smushing, cake face smushing, which is real cute.
Yeah, and everyone just being happy, except for Lucas and Amelia.
Amanda and Sergio having a good time at the reception. And then, Lucas and Amelia, with Amelia still seeming receptive to him. And he's doing this buyback of like, I think you'll appreciate how honest I was.
Right. Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for being, I guess it's better that he said no than married her if he wasn't feeling it, but I definitely don't think thank you. It's the people pleasing. It's like he still needs to know that, hey, I'm still okay. You still like me, right? And it's like he would be very well served by doing some work to feel comfortable with people not liking him.
Yeah.
It probably impacts his life a lot, actually.
Yeah.
So we come to a scene with Christopher saying love is blind, even though it didn't work out with Katya.
Yeah, because he fell in love blindly. And
Katya and Mira's friendship is strong.
Oh yeah, Katya. Forgot to mention Katya's. Wait, did we say Katya's there? Oh, okay, right.
And that takes us basically to the end of the episode.
Yes. Yeah, we just finished with a little bit of Oscar dancing, which it is funny. They pull him out to dance and then the music stops immediately. And he's like, okay, but can we play some music for me? But yeah, look, overall real cute, really sad for Amelia. Feel really bad for her.
Thrilled we have 3 marriages.
Yeah, and continue to feel real bad for Christopher.
Most Love is Blind seasons do not result in 3 marriages.
yeah, things went pretty well here.
Yeah. The last couple of the U.S. ones were one marriage.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then
that's true.
season 3, was that? I think it was only 2. I think it was Alexa and Brennan and Matt and Colleen. Yeah, it's been a minute. It's been a minute. I think maybe only season 4 ever actually had 3 marriages. So I might be wrong about this, but I don't know. And I wonder if that's why people said that they liked this the best of all the Love Is Blinds. Remember we were hearing that?
Yeah, and I like that not because of the final couple count, but because of the actual stories that seem to have gone on. They're all very compelling, interesting relationship dynamics. They're all, yeah. I mean, remember, was it
Jonah Hill?
Yeah. Oh my God! Like, remember that? There's so many very interesting things that have happened throughout this season. Mm-hmm. So I found this just a compelling season with a compelling love story and compelling like human relationships that we saw, and the breakdown in those relationships in some cases, and the kinds of things that you see people bumping up against each other in relationships, like one person trying to be quiet while the other person wants to be loud, one person who has a past, and it's all of these things that seem to be those types of things that we all deal with in relationships. And I thought it was I really liked it so far, and I'm excited to see this reunion.
Yeah, I agree. Compelling stories and relatable stories. You know, we related a lot to the Christopher and Katya dynamic, but even thinking about like how it would feel to be in each person's shoes, we can relate to the Mira and Oscar, like being one person more extroverted and the other person more introverted. I felt like they were all, with the exception of Sergio and Amanda, which I don't know, I felt like they were all like kind of within the range of experiences that you go through in relationships. And I don't know, it really was like good empathy for them, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Or, yeah. I guess even Amanda feeling kind of like on this whirlwind, and the highs are high and the lows are low, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think those are our thoughts, and we will, have more to say after the reunion.
Definitely, in a separate episode. But in the meantime, thank you all for listening. Also, thank you to the person who messaged us as we were recording. Thank you, Naomi. We just got your response to our response. So now you know exactly when we recorded.
And yeah, please, again, like us, subscribe, follow us on Instagram, Love Is Blind Podcast.
If you dig it, even if you don't use Apple Podcasts, go to Apple Podcasts, play an episode, you can play it on silent if you don't want to listen to it again, and then write us a review, because you'd be surprised of the many people at this point. I'd say we have a couple of hundred folks who listen to us regularly. We've gotten a good chunk of reviews, maybe 20 total. It'd be lovely if we could get more of you to say how you feel about us.
Tell your friends, tell your family.
And very importantly, if you participate in any kind of like Love Is Blind, Facebook groups or anything like that, just be really like, helpful. Hey, I listened to this podcast. Just because it will help us get more folks listening. So that would be great.
All right. We will see you at the next ep.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.